how's it going? So My Hero Academia just ended. My Hero Academia became one of the most recognizable anime of all time. Unfortunately, there was a certain community that made it hard for us normal folks be an actual fan of the show. Hopefully now that it's over, that whole thing is gonna stop happening. God forbid more people like this person exist.
You know your fandom, right?
Man, who cares what 30-something
Don't you
year
love
old?
your ship with Aries?
Anyways, I just want to talk about the final season, maybe like a whole overview of the whole show. Get my thoughts out there. I'd like to start by giving a big ol' f you to manga readers. You motherfuckers are 0 for 2 on this ending was very bad. First, there was Attack on Titan. Y'all said the ending was gonna be bad. It wasn't. Then it was My Hero Academia. You said the ending was bad. No, it wasn't. They did the same thing for Jujutsu Kaisen. We'll only get to see what's gonna happen with that in the future. You motherfuckers are just ruining the whole the whole fun for everybody else. You're setting my mindset up for failure. I'm going into the final season thinking that it's going to be bad. Genuinely, shut your bitch. Let me enjoy the goddamn show. Let me make my own opinion. I'm going into it hating the people who made it because of you. I started, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm watching this. It's gonna be so bad. Why am I even here? All thanks to you. That being said, the ending was great. I have some nitpicks. It could have been better. Yes. Was it bad? No. There was a time where I wouldn't even recommend My Hero Academia to my worst enemy. That was thanks to the manga readers who said the ending was bad and discouraged me from wanting to continue watching the show. It was thanks to the My Hero Academia fan base that did stuff like this. And it was also partly thanks to how bad the second half of season 4 and how bad season 5 was. Besides that, I've enjoyed the show, and I would recommend it to anyone who wants to start watching anime. Okay, now I'm gonna get into spoilers, because there's some stuff that I didn't like that I want to talk about. I got a few nitpicks here and there. That's kind of my whole thing. But yeah, there's also some writing stuff that just pissed me off, but it is what it is. First of all, stakes, bro. Stakes. Man, I'm hungry now. I don't know why they're so afraid to kill off a character. Killing off a character adds depth to the show. It adds stakes. You're afraid that something will happen. They leave you on the edge of your seat. Not only that, ironically, it immortalizes the character in your head. You know what I'm saying? There's people that should have died that didn't die. It would have been better if they did die, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Bakugo. Bakugo should have died. But hear me out on this one. I love Bakugo. Of course, I want to see more of Bakugo, right? But he died a gruesome death. His heart exploded, my guy. That caught me off guard. I bet it caught everyone off guard, right? A main character in a show with no stakes dying. That's crazy. Turns out they couldn't even do that. But good way to bring him back was sacrificing Edgeshot. Turns out they couldn't even let Edgeshot die. Edgeshot's whole thing was that he was going to sacrifice himself for the future generation. He was going to sacrifice himself to bring Bakugo back. He survived the procedure. Okay, fine. Yes, it would have been better writing if Bakugo and Edgeshot died. You know what I'm saying? But with Bakugo, I'm glad he didn't, because later on it made for some fantastic animation, some great fights and quotes from Bakugo. It was good that they kept him alive after all, right? Still, it would have been better if he died. Next, you're gonna want to hear me out on this one as well. All Might. All Might should have died. Since the first episode of My Hero Academia, an injured All Might, an almost retired All Might, has been setting up the stepping stones for the future generation to take over of the hero industry. At the end of My Hero Academia, he should have passed the torch and then passed away. His sacrifice was foretold by a guy who can see the future. Night Eye, he told All Might, you will die a gruesome death. Not only that, the sacrifice was there. All Might was damn near defeated. He had nothing left. Armored All Might was destroyed. They even debated us into thinking he was gonna die. There was flashback after flashback. From him in his prime, watching his master die. From him being a kid, freaking playing with his mom, to him training Midoriya. There was even a moment, and they showed this moment 3 times, by the way, where he's talking about his life and the path he walked, and he looks behind him at the path he walked, and he sees glimmers of hope. He sees lights, and those lights are all the heroes that want to be as good as him. They're all the good things All Might has left behind. So seeing that's a perfect send-off for the greatest hero. hero. Like, come on, that's perfect. Anyways, he still had a bomb on his wrist that he wanted to use to sacrifice himself to weaken All For One so that the kids can get him. But All For One disarmed the bomb. Okay, then, and this would have been the best writing in the whole show, dare I say. All For One was like, I'm gonna take the body of All Might in front of the kids who are trying to save the world, in front of the cameras who are showing the world what's going on, and I will kill the symbol of hope in front of everyone. That would have been amazing writing. You know why? Please hear me out. All Might's whole goal was to set up the next generation. All For One's whole goal was to stop the next generation so he can be king, the demon lord. What better way to do that than to kill the symbol of hope? But what better way for All Might to accomplish his goal than to sacrifice himself on camera in front of Midoriya and Bakugo, and then that'll build towards a new symbol of hope. Season 1, Deku, who's narrating from the future, he said that this is the story of how I became the greatest hero of all time. Okay, the symbol of hope dies, Deku becomes the new symbol of hope. No? Am I dumb in thinking that? Come on. That would have been awesome. Not only that, the death would have been epic. He was gonna get ripped apart by All For One. Okay, again, it set up a good scene of Bakugo saving him. The animation was great. Their tag team where Deku was spinning him and then threw him at All For One. That was awesome. It was awesome to look at. Yes, they did that to save All Might. Yes, it would also have been great if they did that for revenge. Deku gets pissed. Bakugo gets pissed that All Might now died, but they still have to fight on. They still have to save the world. What they ended up doing was they did all that amazing animation and to save All Might, but it could have just been they did the same exact thing to avenge All Might and save the world. I think it would have been better writing if they did that instead of what they ended up doing. Still though, it was still good. Okay, yeah, All Might's death. Now, Toya, Dabi, tell me anyone who should have died more than Toya. He's literally the deadest person to have ever died. Ever. How is he still alive? I thought Lady Nagant surviving a nuke that came from inside her body was bad. But Toya's flames were burning so hot that he disintegrated to the point of just being a skeleton. How is he still alive? My favorite thing in the whole show was how good the writing was for the story of the Todoroki family. And the cherry on top would have been Toya dying. I thought Toya was the best written character in the whole show. Just pure hatred for his father that hated him and his family that left him behind. But again, they did the thing where character that should have died survived, but later on, because they survived, something good happens. The ending of the Todoroki family was them finally bonding with their lost family member, sibling, son. That was heartwarming. It was emotional. It was good. I liked it. Again, would have been better written if Toya died, if All Might died, if Bakugo died. Moreover, the animation, just like last season, was hit or miss. There was a lot of badly animated parts. I don't know why they did that. Like, season 1 and 2 of My Hero Academia was one of the greatest pieces of animation ever. I don't know why they couldn't do the same or even more in the final moments of My Hero Academia. I don't understand why Bakugo's fight with All For One was better animated than Deku's fight with Shigaraki and then All For One. That didn't make any sense. That's just a nitpick though. The animation was still great. There was parts that wasn't, but yeah, the fight, the moments that mattered was still animated great. Okay, that's a nitpick from me. But again, it was great. It could have been better, is what I'm trying to say. Can I just say how awesome All For One is as a character? Can I just say that? Nothing's better than a villain who's just pure, unadulterated evil. Nothing is better than that. I hate when villains have a dog reason for being evil. If you don't have a good reason for a villain to be evil, it's way better if you don't have a reason for a villain to be evil. The thing is, every event in My Hero Academia apparently started with alcohol, because All For One's mom was drinking alcohol while pregnant. At least that's what they hinted to. I know technically that's not it, but like she was drinking and then it zoomed in inside her belly and then fetus All For One opened his eyes and he looked evil. But yeah, man, that shit was dark as hell. The writing on that was amazing. Wow. And bringing back the original quirk from the first episode of My Hero Academia, the baby that started it all, the glowing baby. they brought him back and they said, remember the glowing baby from season 1, episode 1? Yeah, All For One killed him and took his quirk. That's peak, bro. Oh my god, that's amazing. I was gonna get furious if they talk no jutsu Shigaraki back to being good. That would have been the worst thing of all time. Frankly, I was thinking that that's what was going to happen, and that's why manga readers said that the ending was bad. Because yes, that would have been a bad ending. Shigaraki should have died without a shadow of a doubt. That motherfucker became the most evil person ever. Even worse than All For One at some point. Okay, that's a stretch, but still. Shigaraki should have died. And he did. For the sake of humanity, he had to go. They tried it, but I'll give them that. That's Midoriya. He would have tried that to talk to him. I'm glad it didn't work, but that's Midoriya's character. He would have tried to talk to him. I love how they did the would you go back in time and kill baby Hitler? Apparently Bakugo would, because if baby All For One didn't disintegrate, Bakugo would have been like, which would have been awesome, honestly. But hey, I also didn't really like that they pulled the whole Naruto Third Ninja War Kaguya Madara situation, which was kind of stupid. Like, they killed All For One. That's over. This motherfucker just came back and grew out of Shigaraki's body, even though we established that Shigaraki already beat him. But that ended up meaning that Shigaraki was dead. Yeah, All For One coming back meant that Shigaraki was gonna die and wasn't going to get Talk no Jutsu. Another nitpick is that they kind of rushed all the side villains and side characters. Like, yeah, I'm not crazy. We all want to see just the main characters fighting the main villains. Of course, I do too. But like, last season they established some side villains where they were going to be fighting the side characters. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a send-off. It's the final season. It's a send-off, you know? Let the side characters get sent off by beating the side villains. All that happened off screen. Another nitpick is that they kept doing the cliche where someone does something really smart and then they flash to 10 seconds ago to show us what was that smart thing that the person did. Bro, I know. You don't every 5 you don't shit. Every 5 minutes you don't have to show me what happened 10 seconds ago, bro. I know what happened. All For One randomly explodes. And then flashbacks to 10 seconds later and Bakugo's like, oh yeah, I put my sweat inside of him. I couldn't have figured that out myself. His whole thing is that his sweat explodes and he's fighting someone. Okay, his sweat is on the person he's fighting and then it explodes. Like, come on. Or that Shigaraki touches the ground so that it decays. So Deku lifts the ground up so it decays the chunk that he lifted up instead of the entire ground. I see that happening. You don't have to flashback. Oh, he actually planted the black whips in the ground after he got hit to set up for the coming battle. What are we doing here? Whatever. Last nitpick. This is just for me. At the very end of the show, they show Deku kind of getting his powers back. They give him like a gadget, a support item that kind of like Armored All Might, where he now gets all the quirks that he has back, you know. And then they show them all like as a send off. They give him a mission where Class 1A reunites and they're gonna go fight the villain for a mission. Yay! I want to see that. Like, we saw them fighting together as kids. I want to see them fighting together as adults. Frankly, I know they're going to milk this show, even though it's over. I know they're going to continue milking the f out of it because it makes money. I know they're probably gonna make future movies. I know that they're probably gonna I know that I just remembered they already announced that there's going to be an episode, a single episode that takes place 8 years into the future. But maybe that's what I want. Maybe that's what I want. Hopefully it's not just talking about what happened. Hopefully I'll get to see Class 1A fighting together as adults. That's gonna be awesome. Hopefully that's what happens. Anyway, the final season was great, except for some parts. Not every season is perfect. Manga readers, you're 0 for 2. You said the ending of Attack on Titan was bad. No, the f it wasn't. You said the ending of My Hero Academia bad, but the ending with My Hero Academia was bad. No, it wasn't. You also said that Jujutsu Kaisen ending was bad. We're gonna see that in the future. Literally f you. Moral of the story is, I guess, don't drink alcohol. But anyways, if you enjoyed my rant and you want to see more rants, like the video and subscribe. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.